guys, thanks for tuning in for yet another weekly wrap-up. I finally got around to uploading my unboxing, and yeah, it's time for another weekly wrap-up. I've still got to edit and upload my wrap-up for last week, but this is for this week coming up. I just finished reading Deadpool Volume 1. This is a restart to the Deadpool series, and they got, if you're not familiar with his name, they got this guy to write this series, Brian, I think his name is Posen. I'm not 100% sure that I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, please correct me and let me know how you say his name. But he is a comedian. He's worked with Sarah Silverman, and I think Marvel did an excellent job of recruiting this guy to write Deadpool, because I have to admit, the Deadpools I read before this series restart were just super cheesy. I mean, they tried to be funny, and they just ended up being wicked annoying. Well, anyways, this one starts out with dead presidents, and this old ex-SHIELD agent is a necromancer. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He resurrects all these old dead presidents to try to fix the nation, and it's just kind of funny. It's really comical. It's very satirical. They make a lot of references, if you're a pop culture nerd like me, and they make a lot of references to other TV shows, movies, and music and stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun reading this. I said it was very entertaining. I appreciate the fact that Marvel hired somebody different to write this, someone who actually has a sense of humor and, you know, knows how to make people laugh, you know. The second half goes on with more about the necromancer and how he made a deal with the devil, which is Mustafa. I can't even say it. Mephisto, maybe? I don't even know. I can't say it right, apparently. I don't know whether I should edit that out or leave that in, because it was kind of funny that I couldn't say it. Well, anyways. Yeah, so, like, the art's kind of cool. Like, this one part where he kind of goes back in time when Tony Stark was a drunk, and it's kind of retro, but they kind of throw Deadpool into it, yeah. So, like, it's like just little things like this really made this book for me. There was, like, a small section that was kind of boring, and I was just like, oh, this isn't that great. And I like how they kind of poke fun at DC characters. Like, there's a character that's like Aquaman, and Deadpool's like, this guy's got really lame powers. I thought that was kind of funny. And, but it's things like that that definitely made this book winning. I didn't read them, but they did include letters to the editor in the back of the book. I don't know, maybe they're funny. I didn't read them, though, I'll admit that. But I love this volume, and I think I'm going to pick up volumes 2, 3, and 4, because this is pretty good so far. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If you have not yet checked this out, please do so. You guys know what I thought of the previous incarnations of Deadpool. They weren't that great, but this is spot on. This is good. Next up we have Dark Wolverine. This is volume 2, and it is called My Hero. This was another interlibrary loan. And I have to admit, I really wanted to read this because I think the concept of Wolverine having a son and the fact that he's a villain, or he's like an anti-hero, whatever you want to call him, kind of intrigued me. So when I found out that they had this series, I really wanted to read it and learn more about him. But I was kind of let down by this book because it mainly just focuses on him doing missions for Norman Osborn. So it's all like, you know, Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers, and there's a little bit of background on Dakin, which is his name, the Dark Wolverine. But, like I said, it is kind of blah, so I really didn't think too much of this book. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I mean, the artwork is pretty cool. I mean, I like how they show the detail on his bone claws or whatnot. And I don't understand how, like, the people in this story were confused as to whether he was Wolverine or somebody else. Because dude has, like, this tattoo, you know, like, going down his arm. It's like this tribal tattoo. So, like, how could you mistake him for the real Wolverine, you know? Yeah, so I just thought it was kind of silly. It was okay. I have a few more volumes of this series to read, so I don't know how they're going to turn out, but yeah, this one was okay. I think you can live without reading this. It's not something that's that great. Next up we have Stumptown. This is written by Greg Rucka. This is another Goodreads recommendation, which I'm starting to think that Goodreads recommendations are not based on the star ratings you give books. I don't know how they're coming up with these recommendations, but like, I just didn't think this was that great of a story. It's about a PI in Oregon, or Washington possibly. I think it's Oregon though, but she is a private investigator. She has a mess of problems. She's addicted to gambling. She takes care of her mentally retarded brother. I think she's Native American, but I can't really tell because they're kind of weird. And the story makes no sense at times. It jumps around a lot. The story is really convoluted, and I know that the main part of the story had something to do with some girl who left her took her shampoo but left her mini, whatever the mini is. I don't know what the hell that is and why is that story called that. It's just it was a mess. So I wasn't really feeling this. It was just okay. I did rate this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but now that I think about it, I probably should have rated it 2 stars. It was pretty bad. Like I said, I don't know why Goodreads recommended this to me. I have read other Greg Rucka stories. I don't remember what he wrote and what I thought of them, but I'd really like to know how Goodreads, bases, their recommendations. Like, I don't know how they do it, because most of these recommendations I've been getting for Goodreads have turned out to be really bad. So, yeah, it's not worth your time. I mean, if you're really into crime, even if you're really into crime, I wouldn't bother reading this. It wasn't that great. After that, I picked up Guardians of the Galaxy. This was a prelude to the film. I didn't know that it was a movie tie-in until I picked it up. And I was like, oh shit, that's a movie tie-in. And I say that because usually movie tie-ins are so bad. Like, if the film is okay or if the film is great, it still doesn't matter because the tie-in is gonna suck. But yeah, it kind of shows you a little bit, like, some of the characters, like, what they were doing before the film starts. And of course, like a lot of these compilation books, it is filled with filler. Yes, it's got old stories featuring Guardians of the Galaxy characters. Some of these are okay, some are just downright bad. Like, there was one about Groot, and Groot just, it looks hideous. But yeah, safe to say I rated this one only 2 out of 5 stars. Even if you like the film, I don't think you should read this because it wasn't that great. Next up we have Amazing Spider-Man 1.1 Learning to Crawl. This is yet another retelling of Spider-Man. It's a little bit modernized where, they have cell phones and computers. But they still have old-fashioned hairdos. I really don't get it, Marvel. You really don't need to keep retelling the same fucking story over and over again. But there is a new villain this time around who is an obsessed fan. He becomes a villain by mishap. His name is Clash. And he has sonic powers. He's like this nerdy kid who kind of makes his costume after Spider-Man. It kind of has a similar shaped eye holes, but he has like sonic powers, and it's basically just a little side story that's supposed to go between a few stories. That's why it's 1.1 or whatever. But yeah, it was okay. I mean, after a while you get sick of reading retellings of old stories. Like, I don't understand. It's one thing if you're going to totally revamp it and have it be a different character, but when it's the same character and you're just updating it to compete with contemporary times, it gets old after a while. I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. It's just okay. Or maybe I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. It wasn't that great, but I mean, I really don't think it's worth checking out. I mean, if you guys want to check it out, feel free. After that, I picked up Birds of Prey, The Cruelest Cut. This is volume 4. Birds of Prey they're all, so far the lineup is like, they're all like bird-themed character heroes. Batgirl is one of them. Okay, Bat's not a bird, but you know, they're all flying-themed characters. This one was really rather dry. They have the Talon, who's become a hero now. Her name is Mary. She's a mutant, of course. And all of a sudden, this Mr. Freeze guy wants to find the Talon base. And they get tricked into leading him there. They find out one of the Birds of Prey is a traitor. She backstabs the team to help Mr. Freeze. And there's these random villains who I've never heard of. So it was an okay read, not something I'm going to say, oh, this was great, or you should check it out. It's okay. If you want to, feel free to read it. I have a feeling that a lot of these new 52s that I've yet to read, I think are probably just like this. They're probably just average books. Well, anyways, I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. It's okay. I think a lot of the books this week have been 3 out of 5 star books. After that, I picked up Avengers Assemble. This is The Forgeries of Jealousy. Yet again, it's a newer Avengers lineup, and there's some weird villain. She wants to collect and harvest these Inhumans these humans are being put into cocoons and becoming Inhumans. They had something to do with the Tarragon Mist. And this lady's trying to harvest them because she wants to take their powers. Like, they kind of make really odd sexual innuendos with this lady villain, and she's like, I need to put you inside me, and stuff like that. It's really awkward, and yeah, I mean, the artwork looks great. It's like digital painted. But this was another story. It was just okay. I mean, it's got Aranya, who is the Peter Parker clone. She's called Spider-Girl in this volume. Like, she changed her name at some point, and I know in the all-new Ultimates she calls herself Black Widow. So she's going by, like, 3 different names. Like, who is she? She's Peter Parker's clone, and she happens to be a girl. Gee, if that idea was not original the first time around when they did that with Wolverine. But yeah, whatever. It has Spider-Woman in it, of course. It's got an appearance by the Hulk. Tony Stark briefly appears, and Wolverine briefly appears, and Black Widow, of course. But this one was just okay. It was another 3 out of 5 star book. Wasn't anything that great.